Kuf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph. We'll begin at Kuf Lamed Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. We were in the middle of a discussion where we learned that Rav Zera said in the name of Rav that a mavoi that did not have a shlit of mavuos, if you did not have a shlit of mavuos, you cannot carry more than dalet ames in that mavoi. Just like a erev needs a chatzer rather needs erev chatzeres, to carry from the houses to the chatzer, to carry in a mavoi in a side street, which you have chatzeres, courtyards opening to the side street, and the mavoi, that side street's open to a reshus harabim. To carry in that mavoi, you need a shituf, a form of an erev. However, he qualified it. He said that that's only the case then if they made an eruv, if there was an eruv and a chatzeres between the houses and the courtyards. But if it's lo yeruv chatzeres mabatim, if there was no eruv, they did not make an eruv chatzeres between the houses and the courtyards, then you, even without a sheet of muter latalto bekuloi, you can carry throughout the entire mavoi through the entire side street. And the question is why? What's the chilik whether there is erev chatzeres or not? Why does that affect carrying in the mavoi? So Amar le Rav Chanina Chazol Rabba Ma'ishna ki erev chatzeres imbat. Why do we say that if there is an erev that you cannot carry in the mavoi? Why do we say that? Because we view, since there's an erev, we view that the chaseres are essentially non-existent. Since you can carry between the house and the chatzer by way of an erev chaseres, what does that mean? That means is that you're merging the house with the chatzer. You treat it as one. So therefore, if you made an erev chatzeres, it's like the chatzeres don't exist any longer. And the Rav L'tamei Dama Rav Ein Mavi Nita Belech Rikare Achiyu Batim V'Chatzeres Psuchim L'Seicha. That we say that a mavoi you can carry in a mavoi. So one requirement is that on the open end where it opens into the Reshus Harabim, you need a lechi, a vertical post, a kaira, a cross beam. So you need a lechi v'kaira. And it's only in a case where there's batim v'chatzeres psuchim l'seicha. You have two chatzeres, two courtyards opening to the mavoi, and each one has at least two houses. Then we consider the mavoi to be an independent area and a side street, and not a chatzer, and therefore it's niter b'lechi v'kair. A chatzer that's open to the street is not niter b'lechi v'kair. It needs more of an enclosure. But a mavoi is niter b'lechi v'kair. It does not need that much of an enclosure. But to be considered to what constitutes a mavoi is if there's open into it at least two chatzeres, where each of the chatzeres have at least two houses each. Then the mavoi is treated like a mavoi, a side street, and not like a chatzer. Now, but if there is erev chatzeres, if they made an erev, then batimika chatzeres leka. Since there's an erev between the houses and the chatzer, they're merged as one, so it's treated like you have houses. And however, it's like the chatzeres are non-existent, and therefore the mavoi doesn't have a din of a mavoi. Therefore, you cannot carry. So therefore, it would be also to carry into the mavoi because you don't have batim v'chatzeres. So frek the Gemara ki lo irvu nami. Even if there's no erev, what's the difference? Even if there's no erev, if that's the reasoning, why should it be muter? Well, if there's no erev, that means you cannot carry from the house to the chatzer. So therefore, there's no flow. There's no carrying from the houses through the chatzer to the mavoi. So it's therefore should be treated halachically like it's only a chatzer that's open to the mavoi and not the bottom. So you still don't have the requirement of bottom and chatzeres, because just like you're saying that if there is an eruv, if you're saying that when there's an eruv, we treat it like the chatzeres are non-existent. Well, if there is no erev, we should treat it like the houses are non-existent, and therefore what's open to the Movi are only Chatzeres and not Batim. So therefore, v'chatzeroi sika batim leka. More answers. No. No, there is an alternative over here. We don't have to say, we shouldn't say that the batim are considered non-existent, because there is an opportunity, there's a hechatimsa to be able to carry from the house to the chatzar. And that is, if the other owners of the courtyard, if they're mevatel their ownership to one person, then that person can carry from his house to the chatzar. You can't carry from a chatzar from a house to a chatzar, rather, because a house is a private ownership, a chatzar is a common ownership, and it has the appearance of carrying from Rishus Yach to Rishus Rabbim. Just like a Rishus Yach carrying from a house to a street is from a private domain to a public domain, this, even though it's not midaraisa Rishus Rabbim, but it looks like you're carrying from something private to something that's public, from Rishus Yach to Rishus Rabbim. But if the other owners of the chatzar are mevatel their ownership to that one owner of the house, then he is carrying from his house to his chatzar. So it's ownership, it's his ownership, his house, it's like carrying to his yard. And therefore, since they couldn't even be mevatel around Shabbos, there is a hechatimsa possibility of carrying from the house to the chatzar. So we should not look at the houses as being non-existent. In fact, the Gemara saif bias ike batim leka, but saif there's bias but not batim, and the Rav's requirement is that there's two courtyards with two houses each, and even if we do avail ourselves of this bittul, it's only one house. More answers. Maybe they can do the bittul that from the morning until noon it should be the ownership of one. And from noon until the end of the day to another person. So it can end up that two people are able to use the chatzar, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. More said, but safe, yeah, but you don't have two at one time. There is no time where there are two houses that have access to the chatzar to carry from the houses to the chatzar into the courtyard, into the movi rather. There's only either one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and Rav's requirement is that there has to be two chaseres with two houses each. Ravashi says, no, that's not the pshat. Whether there is an erev or no erev, as far as Rav's halacha that a movi is niter b'lecha v'ikar only when you have two chaseres or two batim, it doesn't make a difference if there's an erev or not. It's physically if there are two chaseres with two batim. Whether there is halachically we treat it as one and they merge together or not is irrelevant. It's physically if you have two chatzeres with two houses each. There's an erev or not, where we view it halacha as they're one entity or not entity, that's not relevant. So what's the pshat over here? So what's the chilik? Legabe carrying in the movi, whether there is an erev or not. Ela maravashi mi goram lachatzer sheyasu batem v'leka. What is the whole reason that you need a shituf? What causes the chatzeres to be out to be also to carry into the movi without a shituf? What the necessity for a shituf comes about only because of the houses, meaning that he holds like Rosh Shimon, that essentially a chatzer and a movi are considered one rishus. So you don't even need shituf mevuos. You don't even need an eruv to carry from the chatzer to the movi. What necessitates the shituf? It's only the houses. It's the houses that if there is an eruv, then you might have items of a house in the chatzer, and they might be carried to the street. Now, a house and a movi is not considered one rishus. That's not one entity. Therefore, in order to carry items from the house that were in the house on the onset of Shabbos into the movi and to carry through the movi, you need shita mevuos. Now, it's only a concern if there's an eruv, there's a concern that there might be items that were in the house on the onset of Shabbos, and sometime during Shabbos they came into the chotzer, and they might find their way into the street. That's why you need a shita. But if there's no eruv, it's not likely that there are any items of the house in the chotzer, and to carry from the chotzer into the malveh and through the malveh, he holds it's not there's no necessity for a shituf, because he holds like Rav Shimon that they're considered one rishus. So that's the hesper of this chiluk between an eruv or not. Coming back to our Mishnah, where Rabbi Elazar said that machshirei mila are doicha Shabbos, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan loy lekol Amar Rabbi Elazar machshirei mitzvah doicha Shabbos. Not in all cases did he say that machshirei mila machshirei mitzvah doicha Shabbos. It's not a blanket rule. We don't say it in all cases. What's my proof for that? Shrei shtei alechem chayvus hayom. On Shuas, the shtei alechem, that there has to be 2 lechem, the 2 loaves of bread, that's a chayvus hayom. That has to be done on that day, on Shuas. It can't be brought the next day. And v'loy lomdan of Rabbi Elazar elam b'gzera shava. And that the baking, that it is the baking which is machshirei mitzvah, that it is done by b'yayim, he only learns it from gzera shava. You need a special limud to teach me that you can do the baking, and the baking is like Shabbos. And we don't say it as a matter of fact. You need a special limud. So how do we know that that's the case? How do I know that the machshir and the baking of it is Deicha Shabbos? It is, we never have all but Eimer. It says Havol bringing, it says the word bringing, and Lagabi the din of the Eimer. Of bringing on the 16th day of Nisan. V'nemar Havol b'shtei lechem. It also says the word Havol, Lagabi the 2 lechem on Shuas. Ma Havol more ba'Eimer, just like over there it says Machshir Deicha Shabbos, just like by the Eimer. The Machshir Mitzvah Deicha Shabbos, all that is done, that with net, the Machshir, the harvesting, etc., is Deicha the Shabbos over there. Havol more b'shtei lechem, Machshir Deicha Shabbos. So we learn in Gzera Shava that it says Havol b'shtei lechem, also the Machshir are Deicha Shabbos. And where it says Mufna, the word that has to be extra. It has to be extra in order to learn out the Gzera Shava, because otherwise I would be able to ask on this comparison. D'iloi mufna ikla mifrach, because not for the fact that it was mufna, that the word is extra, you can ask a kash on it. How can you compare the two? You can say ma lo aimer shekeni motza kotzer kaiser. By aimer, it's a mitzvah. The ksira is not just merely a hechsher, a preparation for the mitzvah of bringing the aimer. The ksira itself is a mitzvah. She matzah kotzer kaiser. Even if it's harvested, there's still a mitzvah to harvest the grain. The harvesting, the ksira of it, is not just a hechatimsa, it's not just a hechsher in order to be able to bring the barley. There's a positive mitzvah to do the ksira, and even if it's matzah kotzer, you have to be kaiser. But that's not the case by shtei lechem. If the grain, the wheat, was harvested by the shtei lechem, there's no mitzvah to harvest it. So therefore, how can you compare the two? Must be must be that yes, the word is extra. So where do we see it's extra? It says it says by the Eimer, it says the Hevesem, you bring the Eimer to the Kain. So why does it say by the Shtei Alechem Miyom Haviacham Lamale? It could have said from the time of the Eimer. It says by the Shtei Alechem, it says that Usfartam L'chamimochas Shabbos Miyom Haviacham Esaymer Hatzufa Shavuot Shabbos L'Tamir Tziyana. Now it doesn't have to say Miyom Haviacham. It could say Miyom Ha'aymer. It doesn't have to say the Havo. So therefore it's extra. Shema Mina, that Lafnuya. It must be to make it extra. to teach you, to learn out the Gzera Shava, to teach me that the Machshir Doiche. Fracting more of Akati still, Muftim Mitzad Echad Hu. Okay, on one side of the equation it's extra. By the case of the Shtei Alechem, the word Havoy is extra. But it's only extra on one side. Vishamina Leil Rabbi Lezer do Amar, Muftim Mitzad Echad L'Meidim Meshivim. But we know that Rabbi Lezer holds that if it's only extra on one side, L'Meidim, you can learn out one for the other, but you can ask a kasha. If you have a kasha, you can ask the kasha, and that could negate the limud. More answers, Taviu Ribuyahu. But it says also Taviu, and that's also extra. It says, Mimoisher Sechem, Taviu Lechem Tnufa, Shtaim Shtei Esrayim, so is Tiena, Chometz Teafena. It says an extra Taviu, which is a riboy, and it's marba, and therefore it teaches you that you should learn out one from the other. Since it says v'hikraftem in the previous pasuk, the Taviu is extra, and therefore it's muftim mishnei tzladim, you can learn out the Gzera Shava, so therefore we learn out that by the Shtei Alechem, that Machshir Doiche, but loy lakol. It's not a blanket rule. So, frankly, more lemutemai. So, what is it excluding? Where do we say, even according to Rabbi Eliezer, where do we say that Machshirin are not Doiche Shabbos? If you want to say that it's to exclude lulav, that the Machshirin for lulav are not Doiche Shabbos, that it's not Doiche, and for instance, to cut down the branch, etc. Rabbi Lezer says that it is Deicha Shabbos. So you see that it cannot be to exclude that case. Maybe you'll say it means mute sukkah, that for the building of a sukkah, if there's a malach involved, that is not Deicha Shabbos. I'm Atanya, Sukkah, V'chol Machshir, Deicha, that's a Shabbos, if Rabbi Lezer is Deicha. V'elo Limutei Matzah, maybe you'll say it's Limutei Matzah, V'atanya, Matzah, V'chol Machshir, Deicha, that's a Shabbos, if Rabbi Lezer, he says it is Deicha by Matzah as well. V'elo, you'll say, Limutei Shofar. You'll say that maybe it's Limutei Shofar, a person to make a Shofar, do the final takonas of a Shofar. So would involve perhaps makibet patish, which is a deraisa v'hatanya shev v'chol machshir v'deichen as a Shabbos as Omar Ravada Bar Ava limutei tzitzis l'talisa mezuzah l'pischa. What it's coming to exclude is that for the mitzvah of tzitzis and talis, machshirin are not deicha Shabbos. Over there, Rabbi Lezer says that the machshirin are not deicha Shabbos. So to tie the knots of the tzitzis, to write the mezuzah, to attach it to the doorway, etc. These things are not Deicha Shabbos. There we don't say that it's Deicha Shabbos. Tanya Namahachim Shabbos she'im tziyetz talisa v'asa mezuzah lepischoi, that if he tied the tzitzis, or he wrote the parchment of the mezuzah shu chayiv. He did the malacha, he did the malacha of kshira, malacha of ksiva, he's chayiv achatas, and this is the raisa. So he's not, this over here, we don't say the machshirin are deicha Shabbos. My time, what's the reason? What's the chilek? What's the chilek between these cases and the other cases? Why don't we learn out? Why don't we learn out that just like we find that the Torah is mater machshirin to be Deicha Shabbos, we should learn out to these cases as well. It's not kavua zman, and therefore the mitzvah can be done tomorrow as well. So therefore, the machshirin are not Deicha Shabbos. Practically, Gemara Malay Abaya Adarab, just the opposite. Midain kavua zman. Since it's not kavua zman, kol shaita v'shaita zimnu. Then you say it's not kavua zman. Then every moment that is a zman. Meaning, since it's not a kavua zman, it can be done then to tomorrow. But tomorrow is a separate mitzvah. It's not a kavua zman means that every day is its own mitzvah. So what he's doing tomorrow is tomorrow's mitzvah. It's not today's mitzvah, and if he doesn't, therefore, wear the talis today, if he doesn't have the mezuzah today, today's mitzvah is gone. Tomorrow, that's another mitzvah. If it's not kavua zman, every day is its mitzvah. So that's a reason why you should say that he should do it, and it should be doicha, so that he can be mekayim today's mitzvah. Ela Amar Rav Nachman Rav Yitzchak V'Teimer Rav Huna B'Reid Rav Yeshua Hoil V'Yoda Lav Kiran. Since he has a possibility of being mafkir his house or his garment, and therefore alleviating the obligation, relieving himself from the obligation of doing the mitzvah, he's not mechuyev anymore. So since he has the possibility of relieving himself from the mitzvah by being mafkir, by relinquishing ownership, therefore we are not matir. The svara is not to be matir machshir and to be doicha Shabbos, because you don't have to be doicha Shabbos, because the mitzvah, you don't have to do the mitzvah. Be mafkir it, you don't have the obligation, and if you don't have the obligation, therefore there should be no reason to be machal Shabbos. Therefore, in these cases where he doesn't absolutely have to do it, he's not mechuyev unconditionally or absolutely. Therefore, we say that the machshirin, according to Rabbi Eliezer, the machshirin are not doicha Shabbos. It's only a mitzvah where the mitzvah must be done, and he has a chiyuv to do it today, and therefore, there Rabbi Eliezer says the machshirin doicha Shabbos, but not in these cases over here where they don't have to absolutely be done today. There is an eitzah and hechatimsa where he does not have to do the mitzvah.